like a real power play.
Look at that.
It looks like I've set you up. Here are your sausage rolls.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
here's
That's just a
mine.
normal size. Oh, yours is. Oh, but it's cute though. Sometimes those ones are more fun. You know, I'm not compensating for anything. That smile. That's going to be my range of Alleywood's minis.
Hello and welcome to Car Boot Conversations, the show where I have a good old natter with my mates on a whole host of topics, while enjoying the great British tradition of having a picnic at the boot of my car. Today I'm chatting to the wonderful comedian Ali Woods on all things dating.
You said you're seeing someone at the moment?
Stop hitting on me, Louise. I am
Sorry, this huge sausage roll.
waving that in front of me,
Got
going,
me aroused.
"Are you sure?" Yeah, I am actually. I rarely see people because.
You're just a busy man.
Well, but I don't believe in busy. Firstly,
Okay.
I hate it when anyone gives that excuse.
Right.
As in dating as well, when someone says I'm too busy for this, I'm like, you get to choose what you do. A lot of people. Some people you have more obligations, stuff like that. But a lot of our lives, you get to choose what you want to do. So I don't use that excuse of like too busy. I just say, for me, it's like in my head, I'm like, I would rather be putting all my efforts into comedy than trying to have a dating life as well.
I love that.
And I don't want people to take that personally. I've never been in a place where I prioritise meeting someone. So I think that's harder for someone to hear. Like, I really want to meet someone and I'm putting a lot of effort into dating, but you are not worth that effort. People are more forgiving when you're like, I have this other passion. Have you ever had a date come to your gig?
No, and I never would.
Never would?
Some guys have been like, "Oh, can I come to one of your shows?" And I'm like, "It's too, not till it's like lockdown, you know."
What?
So have you brought dates to gigs?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're really funny. So I
But
think
you're
that's
really
okay.
funny as well, though.
Not always.
I mean, I'm not as racist and homophobic as you, so maybe that's why you're
That's a
keeping
fact.
that away from them for a bit longer.
At least get one shag out of it and then let them know who I really am.
I feel like there's a gender thing, though,
Yeah.
in that there's an old adage in comedy that I got told, which was, after a gig, men get numbers and women get advice.
Couldn't agree with you more. Have you ever had like a real shocker of a date?
The worst that I had, and it was my fault as well, but I was on a night out for my friend's birthday at Clapham Grand, right?
First mistake.
So we're already the clientele, drinking a bottle of wine, and then we're chatting and stuff. And I don't know how, but she just comes out with this phrase. She just goes, "Yeah, that's why I don't like Korean people." And I was like, "What?"
What do you even say to that?
So I'm like, I don't think you should say that about a whole group of people. She was like, "Oh my God, what are you talking about?" And I was like, she was from Nigeria, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, was she Welsh?
She's Australian. She's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, I'm just saying I don't think that's okay. And then she was like, "Oh God, I'm gonna leave." And I was like, "Okay, you can, but we might have just had a miscommunication here. If you want to stay for more, another drink, I'm up for it." Because also, she was very fit. I was younger back then. So we get another bottle of wine and then we're chatting, and she's like slapped me a couple times. Like, don't give me that face. She thinks it's playful, but it's getting
You're
harder.
Being physically abused on a date.
Yeah. It's just getting harder as like she's drinking more.
Did she think you were Korean?
And then at one point I like stop her, like block her, come with the judo, and then I'm like, "Can you stop slapping me?" And she goes, "Oh my God, you're so sensitive. Are you gay?" And I was like, "Oh my days." I was like, "What's that got to do with being gay?"
She is like ticking the boxes of like red flags.
And so she says, "I'm gonna leave," and I go, "Okay, cool,
Good.
yeah."
Go away.
So then I messaged my mates, and they're like, "Oh, we're at Leicester Square, come join us." Okay, safe. And then as I'm about to leave, she comes back with another bottle of wine.
Okay, that's a baller move. I don't condone the homophobia or the racism. But to just come back, no questions asked, with another bottle of wine.
Bottle of wine.
That's my girl.
So we're now making out in the booth at the bar. And we're getting a bit sesh now at this point. So I say to her, "I've got some mates in Leicester Square. Do you want to go join them? Because I think maybe if I get in a group environment,
You can dilute
it'll,
the
yeah, it'll come. And maybe I'm thinking maybe I'll get
She's
a second."
not Ribena.
And then we're on the tube, It's quite busy. So she's sitting, I'm standing, and she just grabs my cock. She just goes her hand out, grabs it like that, like this.
Where are the sausage rolls?
So she's got a good tight grip of it like this.
God, some pastry just flaked off.
And she said to me, I always remember this. She said, "You know, I would have let you ravage my tits. You just had to ask." That's what she said. So I was like, okay. So maybe we go back to mine instead of going out to the thing. Maybe if you're there. And she's like, okay, cool. So we now go back to mine. I lived in Oval at the time. So we're at Oval Station, go up the escalator. I'm going to the barriers. I look to my side. She's not there anymore. What the hell? I look. There's some seats by the escalator. She's sitting there with her head in her hands. So I go over to her. I'm like, "You all right?" She goes, "Can you fuck off? Can you fuck off right now?" And I'm like, "Ha ha ha, good one." Like,
You.
then she gets up and she starts going to the barriers and sort of laughs, but not laughs as in like, I got you, like laughs maniacally, like, ha ha ha. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. She goes through the barriers and then she goes to this group of lads and goes, "Help, this guy's taking me somewhere." And it's like laughing and shit. And then luckily they look at what's happening with like me, they're like, whoa, whoa, and her like laughing at herself, and they're like, I don't think that's what's happening, and then walk off. I'm like, what's going on? Do you want to go home? Like the station, I'll get you back to the station. She just runs. She runs into the night. That was the last I saw of her.
So my thing is like the end of dates is so awkward.
Really?
And as soon as it gets awkward, I'm out.
Okay.
I'm like, so I went on a date a couple of weeks ago, and the guy, when he hugged me goodbye, he like rocked me
Weird.
side to
Weird.
side.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. As soon as the hug broke, I was off.
Yeah.
I've
Into
never-
the night. Run into the night.
I ran into the night.
Some people with especially the era I was brought up with, straight men of
In the 1950s.
the good old days. You wouldn't have women doing stuff like this.
Sometimes I do
Ridiculous.
long for those days because I had like making decisions is a lot. And like I literally texted the guy the other day and I was like, I wish it's the 1950s because I can't be asked to decide where we're going.
Yeah, and
And he was like, haha, yeah. And I was like,
he was like, "Is this a trap?" He was,
Yeah.
he was like, "Don't just do a voice note because you can't screenshot that."
yeah. He was like, haha, women deserve equal rights.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never heard from
Just
him
wrote,
again.
"I hate the gender pay gap," and that was it. Just full stop.
So in a heterosexual relationship, I find like, because I'm quite small, there is a lot of pressure on the guy to make the first move, for like, as in terms of like a
'Cause you're
kiss.
small?
Yeah,
Oh, because you
I
can't jump.
I'm not jumping.
You're salmoning them, just leaping up like that, just going for the, and they're like, "Whoa," just
Exactly.
dodging like that.
So really, I just have to be like, sorry, mate, this is on you. But that's a lot of pressure. Do you still feel like there were like presumptions that the guy needs to like make the first move? Are
Oh,
you
100%.
chill with that?
100%. I don't mind that though. Also, I love getting to know someone at the start. I love that bit of just like finding out everything about them, and then I get to talk about what I've got going on, and now I'm hearing like, so how did you grew up? What was that like? Blah, 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 all
Yeah.
that sort of shit. How are your parents? You know, what are your opinions on this? Favorite movies? Favorite this? But I love finding out all that stuff about someone.
God, I need this energy in my life.
I'm just the best guy out there. It's really tough, you know.
Ali
Some-
Woods, the
it's-
original good guy.
It's so tough.
So I'm going to talk about letting people down because, like, that's one of the trickiest things. I had a guy once. We went on a really nice evening, lovely day. He was a really sweet person, but there was nothing.
Yeah.
I texted the next day and I ran it past my guy friends too. I was like, I didn't want to be patronising. I didn't want to, overthink it, which is everything I do. So I sent him a nice message that was literally just like, lovely evening, you're a great guy, not for me. In a
That's all,
nicer
and
way.
fewer words though. That's a bit overlong.
But more
It's a no.
blunt.
It's a no from me.
And he messaged back, start of the message, great. It said something like, oh, that's a shame. Can't say I'm not disappointed. I was like,
Oh,
that's sweet. And then
yeah.
he put, you're lost though. I'm one of the good guys.
On those people, bruv.
Yeah.
Just because if you are nice in order for people to pat you on the head and go, well done, no, I wish more men were like you, fuck off, bruv.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You
You're supposed
tell
to be
him.
nice to people because you're
Because
nice
that's
to-
the standard.
Because
right?
that's the standard. It's not some sort, and also there's a way to manipulate of like you're letting down a nice guy. You should really
You
touch
should
my
be great,
cock
yeah.
because I'm a nice
nice.
guy. So that's actually wrong of you to not have sex with me. This is where I've really been bad as a dater. Of like I don't want people to not like me or to upset people. So I sort of make complicated things of like, oh, you're the best. Like we get on so well, and because some of that is true, and then I'm like. But there's just, I just don't, there's not a, but there's, but like, you are amazing.
Yeah.
And I love you, and I am in love with you. But at the same time,
I
like
hate
we
everything about you.
shouldn't do this anymore because I think it's fairly obvious, and it's
Yeah.
just terrible. And now I've got better at just sort of being more clinical of accepting that in the dating
Yeah.
game. That's part of it, and
Dating
people
is
can expect that.
rejection, right?
Yeah.
Like it literally is putting yourself out there. And I
Is
think
it? I've never had that.
dating is
That's weird.
rejection, right?
Yeah.
Please.
Don't we think that? We all think that, don't we? You got to move on with it, man. And it's like a shame if you were investing more than they were in you. But that's life.
Yeah.
It's a life lesson. It builds character.
Yeah.
When I got rejected fairly recently, I
Yeah,
I had this
sorry about
phrase
that
of
again.
I thought of this phrase of like rejection provides momentum. If you get pushed away from someone, then it allows you to go and do other things. It's like often people after breakups go and throw themselves into work, they get super fit and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So use that, use that. Like I think
Yeah.
the worst thing to do is continue believing that this other person who's rejected you, clinically done that, is like has stuff going on, or maybe in another life,
Yeah,
or
it's
maybe
like
they're
that.
just confused. Like the stuff I hear from some people where they're like, maybe he's not messaging me because he's just worried about like feeling open around someone. I'm like, bro, he doesn't want you. He does not care.
What's your ideal first date?
It's tough, Thing is, I'm not a big planner. As
Right.
you sort of were intimating before of like, I quite like things being decided for me, but I do love an adventure. I do love the sort of yes mentality of a first date where you meet somewhere and you're just like, whatever
just make
happens,
it
let's
up.
move it
Yeah.
on. Like, don't stay anywhere too long.
Yeah.
Just move it on. Let's go to this place. You chat to random people. And then you're I'm with them, and then you go on to another place, and then you're suddenly at live music, and then you're suddenly sort of at the top of a hill at like 1 a.m. and all that shit, man. I love those adventures. I'm very lucky that I've dated some wonderful people and had that sort of stuff with. Yeah, it's been great.